Welcome to Real Money, Real Life, the podcast where we get real about money and the messy human stuff that comes with it. I'm Linda Grizely, financial educator and your Me Money guide to financial clarity. Each week, we dive into financial concepts and money strategies, but we always tie it back to real life, emotions, mindset, and how money actually shows up day to day. If you're ready for practical tools, mindset shifts, and honest conversations that meet you where you are, not where the world thinks you should be, you're in the right place. Because you deserve to feel confident with your money and good about how you use it. No judgment, no lectures, and definitely no putting yourself last. Hello, if you're listening, you're one of the real ones, the ones ready to redefine success in a way that feels aligned. Today, we're going to talk about the 3 pillars of success: self-worth, self-belief, and consistency, and how they apply to personal finance and everyday life. Money decisions don't exist in a vacuum. They're deeply connected to how we see ourselves, what we believe we're capable of, and how consistently we show up for ourselves. In this conversation, we're going to explore how these pillars create sustainable momentum, healthier money habits, and a version of success that feels nourishing instead of exhausting. My guest today is Amy Lenius. She is the director of group coaching at Next Level University, a professional speaker, event coordinator, MC, and the Next Level certified professional development and success coach. She helps people, especially women, redefine success through clarity, self-belief, emotional resilience, self-worth, and sustainable daily habits. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, Linda.
Yeah, I'm so glad to have you and looking forward to learning all about you and the 3 pillars and all the things that we can do to help us redefine our success and get clarity. All right, let's just start with what led you to focus around self-worth, self-belief, and consistency.
I'm so excited for this. I love that you have the through line of money and how we're going to bring that into these. I'm really looking forward to that. But for me, I really dove into these 3 things when I started partnering with Next Level University. So before that, I was doing a lot of public speaking in women's health and had my own coaching program for women and learning about their cycles, their cyclical nature, their hormones, and how they can do things naturally at home, and questions to ask, and stress reducers, all these beautiful things for women. And that was going really wonderfully. And then I came into this orbit of Next Level University because they themselves, Kevin and Alan, are the founders of Next Level University, a couple of amazing bros just talking about holistic self-improvement. I was like, oh, I love that. I love the word holistic. My keynote speech is called Holistic Healing for Your Hormones. And so I fell in love with what these guys were saying, holistic being that everything affects everything else. And they were talking about it from personal development, health, wealth, quality of life, and love, and how you can get better each day in all of them and have your own version of success and your own version of fulfillment. And so I fell in love with what they were doing. I started doing all their free things. I started working with them, coaching with them as a client. And then one day I asked Alan, our CEO, if he would review one of my keynote presentations for me as a fellow public speaker. I said, hey, give me some feedback on this. And he loved what I did, had to say, had some really wonderful feedback for me. And he said, hey, we do this live event every year. Would you want to come down and MC for us? And I was so excited by the idea to step into a different arena of speaking, not just in natural health and wellness, not just in women's health, but in personal development itself, because I could see where the gap was for people on any kind of success journey. But I was working with people on their health journeys where the personal development side really needed to come in. And so I was so excited to collaborate with them, work with them, and then everything just kind of proliferated from there. It was, okay, I'm going to help Alan with trainings. We're going to do monthly masterclasses. Now I'm assistant coaching, group coaching, and I facilitate that experience for everybody. And I have my own coaching program through them as well. And it all really came together in a way of, I can see where the women that I was working with were falling short in the things that they wanted to do for themselves based on one of these 3 pillars. And when I started working with the guys, especially Alan would take me through these wonderful frameworks, and we would talk about the difference between self-belief, self-worth. And then we created this incredible framework around consistency. And I was like, oh, This is it. I can see these three pillars being pivotal in any success journey: health, wealth, quality of life, relationships, anything. These three matter so much on an individual level. And so I just embodied them and started not only embracing them myself and growing them myself, but making sure that the people I was serving and coaching had their own analysis of these things and as well, and how to build them. And it's been a really profound and wonderful experience to see these things implemented in people's lives and the changes that they can make because of them.
Yeah. And a lot of those pillars are things that are woven within my own processes without even naming them. But go ahead and name them again because you're putting a lot out there. So I want to just reframe what they are. So name the three pillars and then maybe tell us why those three are so important.
Absolutely. So the first one is self belief. And self belief is a simplistic word for what in psychology is called self efficacy: your belief in your ability to achieve external results, your belief in your competency, your capabilities, those kinds of things. Self worth is an internal game. What do you believe you're worthy of achieving, worthy of having, worthy of being around? You see self-worth come up in comparison, boundaries, lack of social courage. It's a very much an internal game. And your ability to be consistent is just that. Are you learning to leverage the compound effect by doing small things every day that are going to build up into the goals and aspirations that you have?
So self belief, self worth, and consistency. These are the three pillars. And when these show up, they make a big difference in your life when you work on these things. And if they break down, then what happens?
Well, they typically don't break down. I mean, there are things that can be self-worth hits and self-belief hits for sure, but you have your baseline. Think of your internal system, external system as a thermostat. You have a natural setting, and you can build up into more of a thermostat, more of a higher temperature, let's say. But it takes time, effort, consistency. It really depends on the people you're around and things, because sometimes there are certain things where we can boost ourselves up for a moment, but it's not sustainable if we're not continuing to be consistent with the practices. But we are not born with a certain amount of self belief and self worth, and we're stuck that way. Some people do have, absolutely, a lot of people we work with, actually, including myself, Alan, Kevin, we all have high self belief. So we believe in our ability to get results. Sometimes we're not sure how to yet, but once we get that going and we figure out how, or have support in how, or mentorship or coaching, anything like that, we can run a really good system. So if you struggle to take action consistently, you might have low self belief because you don't believe you're actually capable of things deep down. Whereas self-worth, same kind of thing. You have a certain level of self-worth right now. It might be high, it might be low, whatever that looks like, but you can build it through practices. And I'm happy to take you through each framework so we have a tangible takeaway on how to build each one for everybody who's listening. And then same with consistency. There's 5 steps in consistency. Consistency is a little more straightforward. You're either able to be consistent right now or you're not. And there's 5 reasons why that may be, or why not.
I would love to hear the framework. So if you want to just go right into that, please. I mean, let's give the secret sauce away.
Amazing. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no good keeping it to ourselves. We want the world to thrive. People who are doing good work in this amazing world can do amazing things if they can get out of their own way in these types of principles. So let's start with self belief, because self belief is actually pivotal in both of the other ones. It's a through line in self worth and consistency. Self belief is one that if you have low self belief and you come into our coaching realm or into our realm whatsoever, we're focusing on that one first. And to build self belief, it's 3 steps. It's simplistic, doesn't always mean it's easy, but it is state, prove, and self assign. 1 is to state, say you're going to do something. 2 is to prove to yourself that you can get it done. 3, celebrate. Self identify that you did this thing. And I have people running this system every day on the most simplistic things that they're doing in their day, because I guarantee you are missing self belief points that you could be getting every day by just the things that you're already doing that maybe you don't feel are good enough to be building self belief. I have people doing this with brushing their teeth, doing their laundry, however that looks like. But it's really important to remember that it is a cycle. And what I see most often is people fall into one or two buckets, one of two buckets with the self assign, that little moment of celebration of, hey, I did the thing I said I was going to do. They either over assign, where they say, oh my gosh, I did it. I sent those 10 emails. I am the best, and I never have to send emails again. They don't treat it as a cycle, they treat it as a one and done. And then there's the other people who don't celebrate because they don't believe they did a good enough job, regardless of whether they got it done or not. Oh, I did send 10 emails, but I should have sent more. I should have been more clear. I should have had my messaging better. I should. They're shooting all over themselves where they don't get to the point where they're like, hey, I did what I said I was going to do. Yay, me. And so if you struggle with one
Yeah.
of those two things, there's no right or wrong there. Just which one do you struggle with? Identify that and work towards being able to either treat it like a cycle and keep going with it, or give yourself grace, understanding, and support that you did the thing you said you were going to do. And if you have feedback for yourself, amazing. Do that feedback next time.
Yeah, I love that. And that transfers over to money and finances easily because, that's the thing. I tell people, just start small, start with one thing. And I think that's the idea is like say you're going to do it, prove to yourself that you can do it, and then celebrate that you did it. But you're right, it doesn't mean you're done. It means do it again and do more, it's keep layering on so that you build that. So yeah, that absolutely self-belief is a big part of money too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. To be able to have healthy money habits, healthy frameworks around money, healthy anything, you need to be able to believe that it's possible. Believe that it's possible for you and believe whatever it is that you're doing is going to be worth it. So there's two sections there of belief. There's the physical action of creating belief, like we just talked about. And then there's the mental aspect of belief of the layers of possibility. So we know that saving money, let's say, for example, let's use that. We know that saving money is possible. People out in the world do it all the time. So is it possible? Yes. Is it possible for me? Be amazed at how different those answers are all the time, because people say, oh, other people can do that because of XYZ. I can't because of other XYZ. So they
Right.
see themselves as different from other people. And yes, there's nuances and different things. And of course, we're all different in our own ways, but the principles are the same. And so if you can learn to
Yeah.
run the principles in your own way that makes sense for you in your individual life, absolutely, then we need to find a place for you to start there. So just because you can't start where Bob started, maybe you're going to start somewhere different. So we need to find where your window of belief is in the thing that you're trying to achieve. Okay, you don't believe you can put $100 a week away? Let's try 50. Oh, that feels like a stretch as well. Okay, let's try 25. Oh, you believe you can put 25 a week every week away every week? Amazing. That's your level of belief, and we're going to start there. And then we're going to run the system. Hey, I'm going to put 25 bucks a week today away today. I did it. I did it. What I said I was going to do, amazing. And we're going to run it again next week. So they go together. And then you also have to believe it's going to be worth it. That bottom layer. If you don't believe it's going to be worth it to put $25 away every week, then you're not going to end up doing it anyways. So you have to work on your mental aspect there as well.
Yeah, mindset is such a huge part of it. Um, in all aspects, right? Not just with money, but with any goal or achievement that you're trying to uh, uh, get to, is that you have to believe that you can do it. You have to believe that it's possible for you. Okay, so that was self belief. You want to move on to self worth now?
Absolutely. And if you're out there and you're helping people with anything in their life, just do your best to recognize where they're at on the level of self belief. You shouldn't talk to someone who has high self belief the way you talk to someone who has low self belief. It's detrimental, and especially the vice versa. So you always want to make sure you know who you're talking to and you're speaking into people's lives, and when you're talking to yourself. You don't want to talk to yourself like, Tony Robbins is talking to you and he's like, of course you can do it. Reach for the moon and you'll land on the stars. Big, hairy, audacious goals. To people with low self belief, that makes them want to throw up and they're not going to do it anyways. So you have to be really aware of who you are yourself and who you're taking advice of. If they're not speaking your language, then they can do more harm than good. So be able to assess that for yourself, your level of belief in any kind of scenario, and make sure that people who are speaking into your life in a way that makes sense for you as well. So that is
I love that.
self-belief.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Self-worth. So self-worth, if you can picture a pyramid with 5 layers. Obviously, the base of the pyramid is the bottom. Pyramids are as wide as they can grow tall. Like their base needs to be as solid as possible for them to grow as tall as possible. And so the base of self-belief, that bottom tier, or of self-worth, sorry, is basically self-belief. It's keeping the promises you make to yourself, to feel like you are doing worthy things for yourself and to grow self-worth. Now, as humans, we're all intrinsically worthy. We're all wonderful human beings, who are worthy of things in this world and worthy of having basic needs and all of those things. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the self-worth that holds us back, the self-worth that even holds value in the market as far as the economy and workplace and things. Self-worth, the base, is keeping the promises you make to yourself. So as we go through all 5 of these, we typically have one that we're okay at and decent at, and one that's like, ooh, that's the one I need to work on first. I want you listening for those, because we don't want to take on all 5 at once. We want things to be sustainable, and we'll learn why as we learn about consistency here in a little bit. So what is your ability to keep the promises you make to yourself is layer 1. The next is social courage. How well are you at being yourself all the time? How good do you do in social situations at being your authentic self? Do you laugh when it's funny? Do you not laugh when it's not funny? Are you molding to other people's opinions? Are you staying small because it feels safe to do so? Or are you inflating because it feels more safe to do so? However your nervous system works and your regulation works, are you authentic in spaces? Do you believe that you are worthy of showing up just as you are? Now, it's okay to want to strive to get better and learn more and be a small fish in a big room or vice versa, but what does that sit for you? Another one is boundaries. How good are you at keeping boundaries with yourself and with others? Do you feel worthy of the respect that it takes, the self-respect that it takes to set boundaries with yourself and with others? Now, boundaries are something that are really special, but I see out in the world and on social media that people are trying to set rules and not set boundaries. And so we'll go over that really, really quick, because people will often say, oh, I told them they can't do that to me, and they still keep doing it. They're not respecting my boundaries. No, you're setting a rule. Rules dictate other people. But at the end of the day, we cannot dictate other people. The only thing we have control over is ourself. What we do, say, think, feel, believe. And so boundaries control you. So instead of saying, hey, Bob, again, you can't talk to me that way, stop it, he kind of still can. He's going to say what he's going to say, and he's going to do what he wants to do. The boundary is, hey, Bob, if you continue to speak with me in that tone, I am going to remove myself from this conversation. That's you controlling you. And you're letting them know, you're giving them an opportunity, but you do, once you set it, you do have to hold that boundary. And that is harder for certain personality types than others, but it is a really, really important one for self-worth and self-respect. The next one is investing. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So, okay, so was boundaries then the second layer on that pyramid, or is that part of the self-belief?
So
the courage, social courage.
Self-belief, and I did get the 2 backwards. It's self-belief, boundaries, and then social courage. So we're on 3, and we're going to go up to number 4 here.
Okay.
So number 4 is investing in yourself. Do you feel worthy of investing time, energy, and effort into yourself? And when people hear invest in yourself, they hear money. Oh, I need to be, I can't afford to go away to the spa on the weekends. I can't afford to go to those retreats. It doesn't have to be monetary. Your investment in yourself actually needs to be something that you do every day for it to really stick and really dive into your self-worth. Now, if you can go do those extra things, amazing. Go to that event, go to, get your massage, whatever it is that you do to invest in yourself. But also remember that listening to something like this, like a podcast, that is you investing in yourself. You're learning something and hopefully gaining a new awareness every time you step away from something like this podcast. So that is a moment of you investing in yourself. For others, it's a few extra minutes in the shower because they need it. It's self-care. It's, my ritual every day is a cup of tea, but it's very intentional. What is the tea I'm going to have? What does my body need? What's the mug I'm using today? Is it floral and fun, or is it kind of black and moody? Is it clear because it's pretty? Like whatever that is, whatever the feeling is, I go and I figure that out. Now, I have multiple cups of tea a day, so I don't do that the whole time. But for my first, usually that's the intention. That's what we're doing. And so these little moments that you invest in yourself throughout the day, maybe you're listening, like I said, to a podcast while you do the dishes. I love doing that. I love cleaning the kitchen while I'm multitasking and learning. That's another little way I invest in myself every day. And so what does that look like for you? And how can you up it just a little bit? The last one, the tip of the pyramid, is comparison. Now, comparison can be used for inspiration, but if you have low self-worth, you're using it to a detriment. You're comparing your life to someone else's, and typically very unfairly. You're looking at someone else's life and saying, why can't mine be that way? And you're not looking at the fact that their entire lifestyle is different than yours. Maybe you're comparing your fitness journey to a single young woman who lives in an apartment with a gym in her building to, let's say, me, if I was doing that, pushing 40, two kids at home who I homeschool, and we don't even have a gym in our town. We live in a teeny tiny town. So I do home workouts and I do things that work around my lifestyle. So if I were to compare to that woman and say, well, why can't I be that way? Oh my gosh, she's so fit, this, and this, that is to a detriment. But if I want to be inspired by someone who is also maybe ahead of me, maybe she's in her early 40s, she's also got kids, she's doing home workouts, and I'm thinking, man, she is crushing it. If she can do it, I can do it too. That's a healthy comparison. So do you compare to a detriment or do you compare for inspiration? We call it comparing apples to apples. You want to make sure that your situations are somewhat similar.
Yeah, great. Okay, so I love this pyramid. What's standing out to me about it is that boundaries are like the second level because I feel like that's something that a lot of women especially struggle with. And I think uh, it is big. It is a big thing that you have to understand that boundaries are about what you are going to do if a certain thing happens, not trying to stop the thing from happening. I mean, you can tell, like you said, tell people like, "Hey, if you do that, I'm going to do this," but you can't stop them. Like you have no control over them. You only have control over yourself. But the fact that it's right above self-belief is it's really kind of eye-opening for me because I feel like that's a lot of times one of the last things that we do is actually get the courage to walk away from a conversation that's not serving us, you know? Um, what are your thoughts on that? What do you find when you work with clients on this pyramid? Do you find that that is a sticking point usually that they haven't really addressed?
I do. And like you said, especially women who have what we call an unlovable core wound. They fear losing love, so they stay a certain way, regardless of whether it's good for them or not. They appease, they mold, they are people pleasing and things because they're so scared they're going to lose love. And so it's a really hard one. I fall in that category. Social courage is my on the all the five. Social courage was mine, and boundaries was second. But they go like boundaries being sandwiched between social courage and keeping the promises you make to yourself makes a lot of sense because you're going to go into a situation and be like, okay, I'm going to hold my boundary this time. If it goes this way, I am going to leave. But you have to keep that promise to yourself to make that stick. And you also have to have social courage because now you're dealing with other people. And as much as your traumas, your wounds, your core, all of these things are going to want to say, actually, you know what? No, it's okay. It's okay. I can make this work. It's okay if they talk to me like this one more time. I'm going to be fine. I can go back. I'll get better behind the scenes. I'll, learn how to communicate better and everything will be fine. Again, there's different core wounds that fall into that. There's one core wound, the unwanted group, that they don't really struggle with boundaries at all, actually. They're very secure within themselves. They don't struggle with social courage and with boundaries because they have no problem opting out of something. They'll say, you know what, this isn't for me. I'm just going to go over here. You guys do your little, dance that, other core wounds do, and they'll go opt out. So when you get the odd unwanted core wound come through, they're like, oh yeah, no, I don't struggle with that at all. I can walk away from someone in an instant. You're like, oh, I know what category you're in. That's amazing. But for a couple of them, it is very, very challenging to do so. And like you said, with women, it's almost a part of our upbringing to be who we need to be for others. Our value and our worth, even, is evaluated externally in who we are for other people. Well, is she a good woman? Oh, well, is she a good wife, a good mother, a good employee, a good sister, a good community member, a good pack member, whatever? Like that's how we unfortunately see value in women. And so it's really, really valuable. And I do this with all the women I work with is to assess and grow their self worth. Doesn't matter where they're at, even if they're at an 8 out of 10, let's say, we're going to kick that to a 10 because it's going to change their current life. It's so, so valuable to be able to keep promises you make to yourself, hold those boundaries with yourself and especially others, know what it means to show up authentically yourself, invest in yourself every day to the best of your capacity, and then to compare for inspiration. Oh my gosh, you're an entirely different person and your life ends up looking and feeling entirely different.
Yeah. Okay, I have my ideas on where money shows up with self-worth, but I'd like to hear from you, how you think that self-worth affects earning, spending, financial decision making. How does money come into this part of the three pillars?
Yeah, the obvious one to me is, am I worthy of this kind of financial abundance? So if not, we'll find ways to spend the money or not save the money or not even take the shot to earn more money. There's so many little nuances there that would keep you small if you don't have a high amount of self-worth. And then keeping the promises you make to yourself, I think that's a really good place to start. Again, the foundation there. Are you able to set a goal within yourself, within your finances, and stick to it? And if not, let's dissect why. Where is that coming from? Is it an internal thing, or did you create a goal that's not sustainable for you so you can't be consistent with it? And then again, why did you create that goal? Is it because you're inflating? You need to feel significant and you have what's called inflated self worth? And we need to have some humility a little bit? Or is it because you have low self worth and you're actually deflating and you don't believe you're worthy and maybe even capable of doing these things? It's all hidden under worth. So we need to bring that up and out.
Yeah, like you have to believe in your that you're worthy of having money, that you're worthy of earning money, and that you are that and then back to the self-belief that you can do the things with money that you
Yes.
need to. And I think that also investing in yourself, learning about money is part of that too. Learn more about finances, learn more about how to invest or how planning works, things like that.
Very much so.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else to say about self-worth before we move on to consistency?
A really good question to ask yourself when you're growing your self worth to kind of keep as a filter in your life is this thing, person, place, thing, idea, going to increase my self respect or decrease it? Because typically
Mm.
the answer is actually the harder choice, but it is the better choice. So if I skip my workout today, gosh, I feel like skipping my workout today. I'm tired. I don't feel like doing it. And then you sit with, oh, is this going to increase or decrease my self respect at the end of the day? Hey, I said I would track my finances every day. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like going down to my office and plunking in the numbers. Speaking of myself, because I have to come downstairs into my office, plunk in my numbers every day because I track my finances every day. And ah, what choice is going to increase or decrease my self respect here? I'm going to go down, plunk in my numbers, go back up. It's not always the easier choice. In fact, it rarely is the easier choice to increase your self worth, to increase your self respect, to increase your self belief. But it is the more optimal one for your goals. And it is worth it to do. And it does get easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Good example. All right. Consistency. Let's talk about how consistency um, works in the three pillars, how that comes in, and what you need to do to build that.
Absolutely. So, if you have a decent level of self belief and a decent level of self worth, yes, we can always all work on that. There's never a level that you arrive. Oh, I arrive. I have the utmost level of self belief and self worth. No, it's an asymptotic function. You just got to keep going. It builds and builds. The mountain always climbs. You hit a nice little ridge. You're like, oh, look at the view. It's lovely from up here, but look, I can do more. Those. However, if you have a decent level of those two things, but you're still struggling to be consistent and it's not maybe tied to those two things, although I do think they all kind of go together in their own way, obviously, we need to look at your ability to be consistent and break it down into categories that make sense that we can help you assess yourself on. And we can go through all 5 right now. So I want you to picture a star. We call it the consistency star. And on the first point in the bottom left, you're going to be shocked, is self-belief. So do you believe? So give me a money habit. Let's go through a money habit that would be good for people to be consistent with daily.
Checking their daily, I would say checking any charges on your credit card. Check it daily.
Amazing. Amazing. So when people jump into the pool of starting to track their finances, do they think it's going to be this big, crazy thing that they have to do every day? Maybe they think, oh my gosh, I have to check all my accounts. I have to put it into spreadsheets. I have to, right? And that's too much. Their belief instantly goes, well, I've never even done that before. Now there's 10 things I have to do every day. I don't believe I can do that. I don't believe that's possible for me. Okay, let's break it down a little more. Where is your level of belief? So a great one is just check the account every day. See what charges are coming out. Check it once a day. Most of us can do that from our phone now. You don't have to walk down to the office like I was talking about to plunk all my numbers in. Your phone is, I guarantee, within 10 feet of you on average at all time. You can do that, check your phone. Amazing. Quick and easy. Do you believe it's possible for you to do that every day? Yeah, I mean, it'll be a new habit, right? I got to think about it. But yeah, I think that's feasible for me to do every day because it's going to take me less than 5 minutes. Amazing. Okay, so the level of belief is there. Maybe what other people are doing, again, the 10 different things from the different accounts and the things, they're not there yet, but you're just getting started. The goal is to get consistent at something initially and then build. But we'll talk about that. So the next one is humility. So you have your level of belief. You want to be able to do this thing, but you need to have humility. You need to have an accurate sense of self. If you have never done any kind of financial health, any kind of financial wellness, then you need to be able to say that accurately to yourself. Actually, I've never been able to check my account consistently, so this is where I need to start. Or some people come in really inflated. Oh, yeah, I can absolutely do that. Let's do this. Let's actually add on 10 things and I'm going to do it. I'm going to track my finances for a half hour a day and get into all of my accounts. And if you've never been able to do it before, let's start with some humility. Let's have some self-awareness. Where are you starting from? Because if you can start from where you're actually at, you're going to build a solid foundation that isn't going to crumble when you start to build upon it. So self-belief, humility. Top of the point is sustainability, which you need to have humility to create something sustainable. Because again, some people are going to go over, they're going to go under, but the sustainability factor needs to be there. And so again, if someone has never tracked their finances before, and then we give them a spreadsheet with 10 different things where they have to go into different banks, into different accounts, and it's going to take them 15 minutes, that might not be sustainable for them right away. But to go and grab their phone to check one account and just look at it to get aware and get familiar and comfortable with what's going on in there, that's a good sustainable way to start. So sustainability typically looks like a timeline. Like when you're trying to stay consistent in fitness, if you've never worked out consistently a day in your life, and then you jump to, okay, I'm going to do it an hour a day, you're not going to make it. You might make it for a few days, but then you're going to hate your life and convince yourself that either you or the thing is the problem. Oh my gosh, I can't do it. I suck. Oh, working out's not for me. Oh, whatever it is. No, you just set yourself up for failure. You need to start sustainable. If you've never worked out consistently every day, you want to start at 20 minutes, maybe even 15. Again, humility. Let's bring in humility. Let's create sustainability. And then the next point on the star, we're heading to the right now, is adaptability. The habit itself needs to be adaptable for you to do it every day because life gets chaotic. It really does. How often do we, start the morning with 10 things on our to-do list and by the end of the day we got 3 done and we're like, that was off the rails of a day. I woke up, the kids were sick, I couldn't get them to school, then the dog, then whatever it looks like. Right? We all have these variables in our life. Or maybe you're just going on vacation. Amazing, but you don't have your usual setup. So how can you make sure that the habit is adaptable? So the fact that you can check your accounts from your phone, which I guarantee comes on vacation with you, it's adaptable. You can do it from the hotel room. You can do it, while you're waiting for your kid to, and again, insert variable here, but it needs to have an adaptive thing. So for fitness, again, I love using this for fitness because it's something we can all relate to as well. If I say I'm going to weightlift today, I'm going to weightlift first thing in the morning. Yes, it's going to be amazing. 30 minutes weightlifting. Here we go. And I get up and the kids are sick and all of a sudden the day's already off the rails. I'm going to go to the end, get close to the end of the day and be like, oh my gosh, weightlifting for 30 minutes? No. But I did say that I would move my body every day for 30 minutes. So you know what? We're all just going to go for a nice walk. Or maybe I'm just going to hop on the walking pad for 30 minutes because now I don't have it in me to lift the weights. But I'm still going to do the thing. It might not just look as good as you wanted it. So what is your kind of half-assed version, check the box version of your habit so that you can get it done? Because consistent 30 to 70% days are always better than spotty 100s. Always. And then the last point of the star is just grit. Some days you have to have an F my feelings kind of moment and grit it out. It's the end of the day. I didn't want to lift weights. I don't want to do my workout. Kids were sick. This. But I said I was going to do it. And I'm going to pull in some grit and I'm just going to go for a little walk for a half hour or whatever it is that it looks like. Maybe I'm going to spread out my yoga mat while the kids are lying there on the couch being sick, watching their show, and I'm going to do some mobility and stretching, whatever that looks like. I'm still going to honor the promise I made to myself, but it just looks a little different. And I didn't want to do it, but I'm going to grit it out anyways. Because sometimes at the end of the day, you have to pull in grit. And what's really awesome is if you really don't want to do it, but then you do it anyways, it doubles down on the self-belief points that starts it back again. You double down on self-belief points and your ability to believe that you can do hard things when you do the things you don't want to do. That doesn't come from doing the things you want to do and that feel easy to you. It's going to be from doing the things that you don't want to do. And so as those things get comfortable for you within the habit, again, let's keep the through line of checking one account every day. Let's start now building upon that. When that feels easy, that's when you step it up a notch. Not 10 notches, 1 notches. You run the system again until it feels easy. And now you're building something that is foundational. It is a part of you now. It builds into the identity because you're not going from 0 to 10, back to 0, back to 10, back to 0. You're building this identity of, hey, I can do this thing and now I can do more.
Yeah. And that's how just small, intentional, daily things turn into big shifts.
That's right.
Because you start with one, you get used to that one, and then you stack onto that one. And, and as that one gets easier, you keep building and stacking. And that's how, real growth happens. And sometimes growth does feel uncomfortable. And I think it's necessary to be uncomfortable in order to grow. Do you agree with that, or do you have any thoughts on that?
I do. All the growth that really matters is always going to make you feel uncomfortable at first. Always.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about what mindsets people have that would stop them from following the framework.
Mm.
What are people saying? They're like, I'm not going to follow that framework because
I can't be changed. I am the way that I am, and I either can do this thing already or I can't. I can't evolve into someone who can. There are 2 buckets of thinking. You fall into one of them. You're either a fixed mindset person or you're a growth mindset person. People who have fixed mindsets stay the same. They do not believe that they can do anything differently than they're doing now. So they typically become what's called a victim or a villain. They blame themselves. They're not capable, competent, whatever enough. So they get stuck and they can't change. Or the world. Something in the world is keeping them that way. Regardless, you think you're stuck. Growth mindset is, you know what, I don't know how to do that yet, but with some sort of time, energy, and effort, I bet you I can figure it out. What's really
Yeah.
beautiful is you are not stuck in your bucket. If you are of fixed mindset, it is time to expand into a growth mindset. It is uncomfortable. It sucks. You have to take a lot of ownership. There's a lot of humility that has to happen, that you yourself are the one that has been in your own way. But that is okay. You were not alone in that journey. And it's so valuable to find people who are also on a journey that you are curious about, because then you realize that all the things that may have been holding you back, or the feelings that are holding you back, you're not alone in those feelings. And people have had those feelings and still succeeded. So community really matters when you're learning to grow. Having people on the path that you are on, whether it be in your finances, again, this is where local groups are amazing, Facebook communities are amazing, whatever that looks like, group coachings, however that looks, to have people who are also on the same journey so that you can all connect on how it feels. Every situation and experience is different, but a lot of the feelings, there's a through line there. And to know that that is not just you, it is the average human experience that can grow and evolve.
Yeah. It always amazes me how people think that they're the only one. And
Yeah.
then when they get into a community or they talk to someone who says, "No, you're not." I talk to people that have the same thing every day. I mean, there's always little variations, but it's basically the same thing. All right, we talked about a lot today, the pillars, all the different things that went with each one. But if you could give someone one small thing that they could start doing this week to build their momentum, what would it be?
Self awareness. It always starts with you. And so, as much as it's awesome to go and do and build and achieve and learn, what are you building upon? Understand yourself at a deeper level at the same time as you're growing, or even first, because that is your foundation. So understand yourself as much as possible. Why you think the way you do, why you believe the things you believe, why you, again, say, think, do, feel, all of those things. Why is that? And is it aligned with your goals? Is it optimal for your goals, or is it not? And how can you grow into that? It's a moment of self assessment. And even if maybe these conversations around these three things allowed you to have a moment of self assessment, amazing. Which one out of those three hit you in the chest the most? Because that's the one you need to work on first. And then you can come back and do the other ones later. But focus in on the one that really hit home for you. Grow, build that identity as someone who can either build self-worth, be consistent building self-belief, or be consistent in the habits that they want.
Love it. Okay. Amy, tell us who needs to find you.
Who needs to find me?
Who
Anyone.
needs to find you?
Good question. Anyone who is looking to build these things, who is looking to have permission in their version of success. I find a lot of people think that success means one thing and they're either capable of doing that thing or not, and then they don't feel successful. When in reality, success is subjective. It's what matters to you. It's what's going to be your thing that makes you passionate, purposeful, peaceful, fulfilled, abundant in holistic ways. And some people need someone to say, "Hey, yeah, that's a great thing to chase. Hey, you want to be a stay-at-home mom and bring in only $300 a month? Amazing. I love that for you. Let's build that. And let's make sure that you as the human, as the mother, as the woman are thriving within those two things as well. That is success for some people. It really is. And then for some it's, okay, I'm going to build this entire business and I'm going to grow and it's amazing. Again, so subjective. That's your version of success. Amazing. Let's help you get there. And so sometimes we just need clarity. We just need support. We need validation, and what we want is what we want, and it's okay. And that we can have someone guide us. And I love doing this, reverse engineer what it is your core aspirations are into daily habits and making sure that they align with your core beliefs, core values.
Yeah. Great. And then how can they find you?
Honestly, Facebook and Instagram are great. It's just at Amy Lenius. And when you message me there, you're getting me. You're not getting an assistant. You're not getting AI. I deeply believe in human to human connection. And NLU itself is built on communities. We have so many different communities within WhatsApp, within Facebook, and things that we just love to help people find their way into based on what their goals are. And so we just again, believe in human connection so deeply. So if you just want to reach out, ask questions, that would be a great place to start.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom with us today, Amy. You've given us so many great steps that we can take. And I really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you so much. Actually, I have images for all of these frameworks that we went through today. If you want them, I could put them in the show notes for people and I can send those on over.
Oh, sure. Go ahead and send those over. All right, everyone. Look in the show notes for Amy's resources and also my resources. I've got lindagriz.com/resources. And on there, you can find some free downloads for personal finance items, as well as take a quiz for your money personality and check out my free community. Now, if you've listened the whole time, thanks for listening and being here. And my closing nugget for you is real success isn't built by pushing harder. It's built by trusting yourself, showing up consistently, and choosing alignment over performance. Thanks so much for listening to Real Money, Real Life. Want to see what's blocking you from financial confidence or discover your money personality? Head to the resources page at lindagriz.com for our free quizzes. That's LINDAGRIZ.com/resources. If you're loving what you're learning, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. I'm your Me Money guide to financial clarity, Linda Grizely, and I'll catch you next time as we talk more real money, real life, because you deserve to feel confident with your money and good about how you spend it. The content shared here is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not financial, tax, legal, or planning advice and does not constitute therapy or mental health counseling. Please consult an actively licensed and qualified professional for advice or help specific to your situation.